Are those notes for our session or? No. We thought it's you. No?
No, it's alright.
Can we erase that?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Professor, I hope you haven't written any of these notes.
Hope that I haven't, what, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm just asking, I hope you haven't written these notes.
Oh, that's fine.
No, I'm asking, have you written these notes?
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
Oh, that's
It was so unbelievable that I would actually do something productive and constructive that I couldn't, no.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
We were trying to like connect it and thought it's not connected to the topic at all.
Yeah.
I used to have a habit, though, trying to use whatever was on the board from the previous class, even whether it was physics or chemistry, try and work it into the conversation.
Sounds
It's a bit
interesting.
challenge.
Right.
Okay, thanks, sorry.
Yes. You just put yours down.
美中不足的非常完美。
Yeah, you must have got it right.
我问了，他们说是他们，是你们还是第五组啊？
是啊，然后来我给大家帮我揉一些。
我让他们去查概念。
还有什么？
主要是这个。使劲儿夸。
我把所有在内的形容词全部给你用了。
电脑就没带。开过，开个脑。
加油！
你们好好参与就好了。特殊待遇，他意识到了上节课这样做。那你也要把人家讲什么，得知道人家讲的是什么。
大哥换位置的图什么？没有为什么。我跟老师拿小报告可以上课为谁？他就把你告诉我。请到那里。不要，我想你。我把这个位置非常好，完美的一个。老师就在你旁边，你完全脑子没有。学习而已。Cybersecurity 的 message。假装你在做笔记，我1000多个。这超维线。
我们做这会不会导致？
没有画。
会不会导致？
Alright, good morning everybody.
Morning.
Morning. How's been the morning for you?
Not bad.
Great. So, Professor Minter is kind of busy again this week. So, I'm filling in for him. And so he'll be back next week, for sure. And today we are joined with Professor Bill, who is a very experienced professor in the optics community. And he has been a very great professor in the information systems courses. So today's, so we are like, I would really appreciate, Professor, if you can like really pitch it whenever you think it's the right moment. And thanks for being here. So we'll jump the topics for our discussion today. So the topic for today is social conscience. And I'm sure you guys have come up with your live case and also have posted on the blackboard the individual task which was assigned to you guys for every week. And without wasting any further time, we'll first of all quickly have the attendance. So do we have Yang Gao? Yin Zong Shang? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the names a little incorrectly, but please bear with me. Chia Yao, Giving Zheng, Ji Wang, Jun Li, Shaw Shu, Siki Zhang, Siki Song, Ding Ye, Shin Yuan Yin. Correct? Thanks. Ashish Thakkar, Yifeng Tuan, Shuang Shen, Yilin Song, Sinda Shen, Wan Wen Miao. Do we have Wan Wen Miao? Song Yang Zhou, Shin-Hui Chen, Guan Guan, Ren Hao Yang. Okay. So, format of the class is pretty much like the class that we had last time. So, I'm sure you guys have come up with your individual responses to the live case. And now the task at hand is basically to finalize one case per team and then I'll be giving you just 2 minutes today to finalize your case, which your team comes with. And then within 2 minutes, you have to share the case analysis with me. So what that basically means is that your case synopsis has to be prepared within the next 2 minutes. So if you can quickly do that, we can have a quick discussion after that. So you guys have 2 minutes. Please start. Alright, so let's have a quick discussion around what each team has come up with their cases. So we'll start with team 1. What's your live case that you have come up with as far as your team is concerned? So one request to everybody, the objective of this class is to have and hone leadership skills. One of the basic requirements is actually to speak louder and clearer. So the objective is that the person at the end is able to hear and the person who is at this corner of the room is also able to hear. So I really can't hear what you're saying, and I also got instructions from the professor that we should not use microphones in the class, what we did the last time. Although it was convenient, but it really doesn't help you develop the skill of leadership in that case. So I would request everyone to please be as loud as you are and please be as clear as you can. Yeah, go ahead.
Just about 30 Japanese universities have been deliberately making it harder for female applicants to vote.
Can you please repeat that again?
About 30 Japanese universities have been deliberately making
what's the social conscience angle? Like, what's the social conscience, like, what are the problems that you have identified? Sexual discrimination, okay. And this is happening in Japan?
Yes.
Okay. What about team 2?
Our case is about some Asian students sued Harvard University for admission based on the affirmative action. So it's basically like admitting students based on their race.
Okay, so like racial discrimination.
Yes.
So have they sued Harvard University?
Sorry?
Like, have there been any case that has been filed against Harvard?
Yeah, they are actually suing Harvard University in court.
Okay, and these students are from where?
Asian students.
Asian
mostly.
students. Okay. How about team 3? Professor, can you
Could
hear?
you speak up, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
Two women face the charge of child abuse in a daycare center.
Okay. And where is this happening?
I want to know the daycare center's name.
As in, like, which location is it?
Effingham County.
Sorry, Hong Kong.
No, yeah, it's in America, but like it's I only know the county.
Georgia. Oh. Oh, team 4.
The executive vice president as people help immigrants to build a brighter future to study or work or stay in the U.S.
Can you please a little bit more elaborative in that?
That's just the vice president as people, and it's a woman. She helped the immigrants to stay in the U.S. and have a better work or job or study.
So what has she done to help the
Just like to help them in the court or just work with them to just support their daily life.
how is that a problem if you're doing it legally?
So she's following her social consciences, not others.
So we have to identify like problems, right? So if she is doing something which is helping the society, that's not a problem.
She doesn't have to be.
I mean, if you're helping someone to get a better job, then what's the problem with that?
Because they're immigrants, so it's difficult for them to get a job.
But she's doing a good thing for the others, right? She's basically helping others to find a job or find employment in some way. So that's not really a problem as such.
We think basically the problem is that immigrants is a social problem in the U.S. Yeah, this is a common sense. And this woman is trying her best to help those people to like find a better, broader future and with their U.S. citizenship and filling more legal works within PayPal.
Within PayPal.
Yeah.
Okay. Professor, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm trying to understand it too, because I guess I reacted the same way. I wasn't sure, what the dilemma, really was, if she was trying to help. I mean, you're really hitting on a key issue, as you know, especially with the elections coming up in the U.S. and how the question of immigration is really very, very topical. So I think you're really onto a very good topic. But I think there are many dimensions, many dimensions of it, and instances about how people. I mean, it really gets to the core of this class. And actually, I hope you always keep in mind Professor Thompson's, videos about this. When, we all grow up and we have our own, moral understandings, depending on how we were brought up and so forth. But then when you come together in groups, you find others don't necessarily, of course, are not going to have the same experiences that you did. So on immigration, people have very different views, about what should be the the feeling towards people who want to come to different countries, and especially with the U.S. And because, the focal point now obviously is have some of you traveled to Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, Central America? It's very difficult to find. When you talk to the people that are right now moving through Mexico, they're leaving a very difficult situation as far as the economy and crime and so forth. So then when they, what about the place they want to go to, and what are the feelings of the people and the government when they present themselves to, for example, the United States? So you're on a really, I think a really key subject that gets at social conscience, which is, the topic today. So maybe you can just, think about it in terms of the individuals involved and what the dilemma, really is, and kind of sharpen the focus a little bit.
I think maybe like the way maybe we can in a way that people are doing good because they are socially conscious, because they do possess the attributes of being social conscious, right? I think we can project it in that way. But I think the topic, as you mentioned, I think is very much relevant, and I think it's very important. So we can definitely take that as a part of our topics.
Yeah, I think in this case, it's mentioned that the immigrants, they are always being separated because the people think they are terrorists, they bring disease, and so he just helped to make these people more normal, just like others, citizens. So I think that's a kind of thing which she does.
Right.
Yeah, as you said, it's definitely a help, because she's trying to provide information. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation that's out there about, immigrants that are coming. So, I encourage you all to look to many sources of information. I always like to listen to reporters who are actually traveling with people who are immigrating and talking to them about where they are coming from and what their challenges are.
Thanks, Professor. Yeah. So we'll move to the team 5 now.
So our case is about sexual misconduct, and it's not really pretty recent news.
Maybe a bit loud, please.
Oh, okay. So Google employees are sending out for protests against their senior level managers to evade, how to put it, it's actually a mismanagement of the crisis of sexual misconduct. It says like that Google actually fired a few people knowing the detailed information. They are thinking about if the Google is protecting this senior level
Right, all right. That's a great topic to discuss too. Yeah, thanks. What about team 6?
So our case is about a kindergarten teacher in China was fired by his school after he revealed his sexual orientation on his own social platform.
On which platform?
Social media.
Social media platform.
Yeah.
So it's again a case of like discrimination.
Yeah, so because LGBTQ is still a minority group in China, and their right is not really protected by any laws.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great. Okay, so now you guys have another 20 minutes to come up with the rest of the analysis for your each respective case. So if you guys can work within your group, and then we'll have a discussion on each and every aspect of your particular case. So as you can see on the slide, these are the things that we did last time as well. So that's the same thing that you have to come up with the current case that you have identified. So you guys have 20 minutes and we'll have a discussion after that.
That's the last part. So the first is with back value and drawing. Just begin at 07. Key factors.
So one more thing, guys. Whenever you're having discussion within your team, it's like we are highly appreciated if you discuss in English and not in your native languages, because again we are encouraging you to be more willing to be more like adaptive to the conditions and the environment that you have right now. So it would be great.
I can do the first one and the fifth. I'll do that. So I can do the first and the fifth, you do the second, and you can do the third and the fourth. No, you can use the third or fourth, you can choose whatever.
I think stakeholder analysis, that's the fourth one, right?
Yeah.
That's a design.
authority have different opinions.
Yeah.
The next time, the last Friday. Oh, the same one. Yeah, the same one.
是那个Andrew 贵宾。
Henry. Yeah, it's necessary very and it's
一个是他有三点，一个是就是说他实际上是由开始的这些这是政治性的，另外一个是就是性别歧视，就是他被性侵了，但是他还是不被允许说这件事情，然后他就。然后反而呢，就是说要那个公司让他和性工作者
All right, let's start. I guess we are done with the 20-minute preparation time that we needed. So we'll start with the key facts. And how about we start from the back this time? Let's have Team 6 present their key facts for the case.
Okay, so the key facts. So we have this kindergarten teacher, Ming, who shared an article through social media that's advocating for Chinese gay community. And a parent from, well, previous students' parents saw the post, and then the parent reported to the kindergarten, and then kindergarten fired this teacher based on his post on social media. And so the teacher now is pursuing legal action and suing this kindergarten for firing, or basically for firing him with no legitimate basis. And that's basically all the key facts. Oh wait, so what they are, so on this case, the teacher's lawyer is not basing this case on sexual orientation discrimination, but purely based on labor dispute, because in China there is no law that's protecting LGBTQ's rights. So they are afraid that having this case based on sexual orientation discrimination it is going to be hard for the court to make their decisions. So, and also there's like rising awareness in China, or in all the community in China, about the LGBTQ issue. So that's basically all the key facts.
So, like, does it tilt more towards the labor dispute as compared to the LGBT community rights?
It's kind of mixture of both, but essentially it is a discrimination case. But because there's no laws that's on discrimination, so they are kind of go around the law and then have it as a labor dispute case. That's
Okay.
Thank you very much for speaking out. So, no, we appreciate it. It's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that's pretty helpful for your individual case. Do you think there would be any other stakeholders who might get impacted because of the decisions that may be made either by the court?
Well, we have like plenty stakeholders from the kindergarten, the student parents, and the teacher himself, and also the court, or in a larger scale, the government. And well, basically, I'm not like the court date is set to be November 13th, so I'm not sure how the court's going to decide on this case. But so of course the kindergarten is going to be affected by this case because they have to actually pay the fine to the teacher because firing him like with no legitimate excuse. And
Right.
and the bringing this issue, no matter what the court decides, I feel like it's going to be a more, the case brings more awareness and understanding to the LGBTQ community in China. So basically the court decision isn't the key issue here, so I mean that's just my thoughts on that.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Right. So we move to the next part, which is on the moral and ethical analysis. So how about we start with team 5 now?
So the main moral issue is that the core
Can you please be a bit louder? I'm not able to hear.
so it's that Android's co-founder and Robin who did sexual harassment and was asked to resign with a $90 million exit page that Google wasn't obligated to grant. The key moral actor is the Andy Rubin, who the person who did sexual harassment, and then Larry Page, who asked Rubin to resign but gave him the exit package. I think it shows I think Larry Page shouldn't give him the exit package because Google is not obligated to grant it, and it didn't show the respect justice, and fairness that Google set in the company's culture.
I think a major point, a dilemma here is like, are you getting, if you are resigning a senior level, for example, CEO, or maybe he's in the board of directors, are you giving him the exit package because what he have done for the company, or is it because of your resigning him? The thing is, if you really want to be fair, you should be judging on what he created, how many benefits or profit he created for the company, and giving him this exit package. But the thing is, the employees are protesting because they think these people clearly have was convicted of the sexual misconduct, so you probably shouldn't get a package because of his moral issue here.
But
So-
What about the great things that he has done for the company? I mean,
yeah, the dilemma is here. Should you get a package
Yeah.
because what he had done, or should you not get any package because also what he had done that stuff.
I mean, he is one of the reasons because of which like Google has been able to attain that status, and like he must have generated like huge amount of revenue for the company.
Yeah.
So if you are in the shoes of the leadership, like would you risk your relationship with a person who has done such great things for the company, or would you just let him go without any paycheck and like have some sort of problems with your relationship with this person? Like that's the key here to kind of really understand on what would be your dilemma and like how do you deal with it.
And I think you're correct in kind of bringing the two, together. I think ideally, sometimes we might want to separate them and pull them apart. So on the one hand, what happens when someone who made a lot of contributions, leaves the company, and what might be appropriate as far as an exit package then. But then the other issue is the alleged, sexual misconduct. So I think a lot of organizations would like ideally to separate, those two. But on alleged misconduct of any kind, in a corporation, what I think a lot of organizations feel is that is going to be quite an extensive undertaking to follow that through and pursue it in terms of what, investigate the allegations, decide if there's, really was any misconduct, and so on. It involves a lot of time. But if you want justice, if you want to really understand what happened, then that might be the preferable way to go. But there's an awful lot of expediency that I see in a lot of corporate behavior, where especially if you're very flush as a company, very you have a lot of discretionary money, that it's much more expedient just to put it aside and kind of bring the two together and close it. So I think that's a challenge that a lot of organizations face now, especially when there's a lot of alleged behavior in corporations, that to pursue them all strictly through the legal process might be the proper thing to do ideally, but it presents a terrific burden to pursue all these. So a lot of times they look for expedient paths, but that really gets at some of the underlying moral issues that we all want to understand.
Right. Thanks for great input, Professor. I think it also boils down to like what are some of these core ethical and moral values that one individual possesses, and sometimes in situations like these, I think it's very critical for an individual to really have a very rational thought process rather than like having a thought process which is basically determined by the past actions of the people. So if you, as the professor mentioned, if you like weigh these situations as two independent situations, I think that's a great way to actually make decisions and then come to a conclusion. And but again, it boils down to your own ethical and moral and like your own human values, which I think you should definitely consider while making any kind of these decisions. But moving on, we'll move to the stakeholder analysis. And how about team 4? Your case was on immigration, very interesting one. Yeah.
So I think the main stakeholders in this case are Louis Pentland, who's helping the immigrants, and the immigrants themselves. So she's taken a year off from her work at PayPal Holdings, where she's like the vice president, and she's decided that she wants to do something that has a social impact. Other stakeholders who are also involved in this would be the organizations that Louis Pentland has been working with, which is the Human Rights Initiative of Texas and Class Power. the community legal services in East Palo Alto, and also the family of the immigrants, because they're concerned for their children.
What about the government?
Um,
Don't you think they are like
Yeah,
stakeholder who are actually the decision-making authority here?
Yeah, so basically the governments decide who gets the green card, and so in that sense, even the governments are stakeholders, and yeah.
Okay. And what about any of these lawmakers or lobbyists who kind of help people who try to be, let's say, the citizens of the country? You know, they can also be potential
Yeah.
stakeholders, right?
Definitely, because Louis Pentland has been working with. They basically fight the cases of these children in court. So basically, all the organizations that she's worked with, and the people who and the lawyers that are helping her, so they would also be stakeholders.
But like I do understand the analysis which you put earlier that she's working for immigration. But what would be some of the claims that are contesting this argument in that case? And why would you think?
Yeah, so that's kind of hard for me because I kind of agree with Louis Pentland, but obviously there are other views, like the government does not want these people to enter, and that is because they are not legally US citizens and they are just coming in through the border. And I think there might also be other people, like, you know, there are people who are in the US who firmly believe that these people should not be allowed in the country. So that's why there is like a lot of conflict. There are people on the borders who are like stopping people from entering and everything. And yeah, so that also plays into it.
But what do you guys think about people who are not trying to like cross the border illegally, but the ones who are coming through the legal process? Like, how should the government try to, like, should the government try to have any actions against them as well? Or should they kind of, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
It depends on what kind of country the United States positions itself to be. If it's an immigration country, it should open doors to the immigrants.
What do you mean by that? What is an immigration country?
So America was built on immigration, right? So if it positions itself as an immigration country,
Basically a country which